Chapter 48. Perdita spoke first. "You're here, thank goodness." She closed her eyes and breathed a sigh of relief. "I'm so glad you're safe." Perdita swept some papers from a slop chest, tested its strength, and sat on it. She invited Ray to take the small camp stool by her cot. Ray raised an eyebrow. "So, women's advocate, huh?" "Just another feather in my cap. Take a seat." "And part-time market researcher to boot," said Ray, sitting down. "Not the most glamorous cover story, I must say. Listen, our last conversation. You rang me in the street just before... Yes, listen, I'm sorry I couldn't help you. I wanted to, but it was too late. When the phone went dead, what can I say? It was hard. Corporate scum. That was a tough call. It wasn't a barrel of laughs at my end either. They dismissed me. I heard. I mean, what the fuck did I do wrong? You weren't shown the disciplinary action proceedings? Was I? Fuck. No, they don't bother with that anymore. Well, I can show you what we gleaned later. There's not much to it. But you'll see what passes for justice these days. Perdita, somebody really needs to tell me what's going on. Please. Of course, you've been through so much. You heard what happened to the cluster? Yes, I know. Disgusting. Nothing surprises me anymore. Perdita marked her remorse with a moment of silence before continuing. Where should I start? She said to herself. Well, as you've gathered, I'm not a market researcher. That was just a cover. I'm with the recusancy. You might have heard of us. Ray winced. Vaguely? Not sure. Not really. We oppose the current corporatocracy. Every sickening, tyrannical part of it. Direct action. Espionage. We disrupt what we can, however we can. We're the resistance, Ray. Or at least a part of it. Glad to hear it, said Ray. It felt like things were starting to fit together, like her mess of a life had led her here. A new start, a new purpose. Perdita clasped her hands together. I don't want to lie to you, Ray. What we do is risky. You've seen how dangerous they are. You saw what they did to your clients. She winced. I'm so sorry. They were probably after me. A sour lump rose in Ray's throat. She started welling up, but swallowed the feeling. Bastards. The corporations are constantly focused on our activity. Perdita carried on. They know we're a threat, and if they don't execute us on the spot, we're sent here. As you can see, all too many of our comrades end up as cannon fodder. Ray remained po-faced. The anger helped. She looked Perdita in the eye. So why didn't they kill me too? They could have done, in the cluster. Why leave me unscathed, then dismiss me here anyway? Hard to say. Corporate politics? Some affiliation with your employers? Inflorescence ink. Yeah, someone plays fucking golf with someone, right? Right. They knew there was a recusant agent in the cluster. Didn't know exactly who, but were certain it wasn't their Panmatech. So they butcher everyone else, and afterwards they realise that you're... Perdita waited for Ray to finish the sentence. Expendable. Jesus. Weren't you having trouble with the management? I guess. Bastards must have sold me down the river. Nobody likes loose ends, Ray. Unbelievable wankers. Fuming with anger, Ray had to stand up. She tried pacing about the tent. but it was far too small, and she kept getting a face full of the canvas. Sighing, she sat down again on the edge of the camp stool, jittery with energy. "Okay." Ray clasped her hands together. "So what about you? How come you got out?" "I never entered metastasis that day." Perdita's smile was full of regret. "My consociates in the recusancy sent me intel that the corporations had my scent. Remember that message I got after our first session?" Ray nodded. "I had to break my cover and go underground. I kept to my routine and attended your session, but I never used the Naris inducer. As soon as you were all under, I left by the back door, so to speak. But I'd no idea they were so close. Ray, if I'd known what they'd do to the cluster..." "Yeah, of course, yeah." Ray peered out of the tent flap at the rebels striking camp. "And now we're here." "Yes, I found you, thank goodness. And I'll get you out of here too, but there's no way back to your old life now, Ray. I hope you understand." Ray nodded. It was like she said. No way back. This was profound stuff. Her moment had arrived. Fate had led her here. Consociates. Wasn't that what they called one another? Brothers and sisters, just like Buckenhart had said. Like a family. A thought distracted Ray, an image, something she'd seen in that last metastasis session. Perdita reached out and took Ray's hand in hers. "I know this is messed up, but maybe it's your kind of messed up, Ray. The recusancy, I mean, this could be a good fit. There's a place for a panmotech like you. It'll take a bit of time to adjust, but you never know. It may even start to feel like you belong, like what you do matters." Smiling and appreciative, Ray nodded along with Perdita. But her mind had wandered. There was something about that last metastasis session that struck her. The cruise ship, the sky, the ocean, a little tugboat. The man with the cloven thumb's words came back to her. "Survival, Ray. It drives people to places you wouldn't believe." "Perdita, what's going on with that guy?" She nodded to the entrance of the tent. "He's doing my head in." "Which guy?" "You know." Ray held her hand up and wiggled her thumb. "I told you about him before, with the funny thumb." Perdita looked blank. "Sorry, I'm not following you." "You know, he was just here in uniform, and he played at that Bespoken bar in that band. You remember?" She was getting frustrated. Perdita tried to pacify her. "Sure, we'll look into it together, you and me. But first, we need to..." She frowned and cocked her head. "Wait. Hang on. What?" "Nothing. Sorry. Did you say this guy had a what? A strange thumb?" "Yeah, split down the middle. Peculiar. Like the guitarist, you remember? A bit of a creep. Well, no, that's unfair. He's all right, I guess. Kind of an oddball, and he's following me around. Seems to just turn up on the spur of the moment. Even in metastasis. And what's fucking weird is that he looks completely different every time I see him. Except for his thumb. It's split in two, right down the middle. He's with you guys, right? Undercover or something." Oh, Ray. Despite her dark complexion, Perdita had gone pale. "Ray, that's..." She looked at her and blinked. "That is extraordinary." The two of them remained speechless for a moment, dumbstruck, both too caught up in a flood of new thoughts to notice the faint whistling sound in the background, getting steadily louder. When the batch of mortars hit the camp, there were a few microseconds between each earth-splitting blast. The surging drum roll of destruction tore right through the rebel outpost, without mercy, ripping it to orderless pieces.